Good morning, everyone. It was year 2008. There was this one company which just set up their India center, and they were hired a country manager with a lot of fire in the belly. And we went and met him. He said, hey, I really want to grow this center rapidly. And we worked with the leadership, built business case, worked with individual business units, and we got them several $billion of investment commitment to grow in India. They rapidly grew in a period of few years for thousands and thousands of employees. Then the second phase was, hey, now how do we add more value and impact from the centers? Again, we did benchmarks. We went and talked to different companies. We ran workshops in different locations across the globe, convinced various stakeholders to drive global leadership roles in India, as well as give full product ownership and product leadership roles into the India Center. Went phenomenally well. The company was able to add significant amount of value. And then we were ready for the third phase. And the third phase was to see how the center can drive global transformation. And the company was going through this massive shift. They had these interesting startups really come and competing with them. And we have created this organization, along working with the leadership teams here, which can take on the next generation of competition. They can build, incubate new products, and drive that into the market rapidly. But instead of taking the bet, the global company decided to sell the organization. Then we went into a phase of rebound. The company went back being a delivery center. And the same thing with another customer. We worked with the leadership team. We got them into the second phase, got them through where they're driving global portfolio from here. And the leader of the India Center chose to take a CTO role for one of the business units in the US. Again, went back to the third phase. Another customer of ours, in this scenario, we were working directly with the global team. And the global stakeholder, the CTO we were working with, very passionate about what is possible. We worked through them to the two phases. And the CTO quit. And they hired a new person. And we had to start with them that Bangalore is not in the suburb of Bombay. And tell them, no, everyone in India doesn't speak Hindi. So we start from scratch again, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you go through this. Again, went back one stage into a delivery center. Not just these three companies. This is a problem as an industry we face. We go through these phases. We get to a model where we are driving portfolios. But we are not able to hit the escape velocity to be a transformation hub. Don't get me wrong. We have over 1,200 companies have centers here. Just the last year, we believe combined the industry saved over $40 billion to the global headquarters, $40 billion. We employ over 1 million engineers, 1/4 of all of Indian IT industry is now with the global centers of excellence. We lead the industry in terms of talent practices, diversity, inclusion. We shine the light for the rest of the industry to follow. But that is not enough. To be a transformation hub, there is an opportunity for us to drive one of the top 2, 3 priorities of the CEO. If you're an automotive company, can we drive the EV program of the company here? If you're a technology company, can we drive the entire data and machine learning program from India? And that is the opportunity. And my sales team is not going to like what I'm going to say. We at Zinnov have failed most of the time in helping our customers get into a transformation hub. We have so many scars of going through that journey and have to rebound and come back. Very few times we are able to make them peek into the fourth quadrant, just take a peek, soon to come back into the lower quadrants. And one of the mission for the company is to help our customers break this cycle and get into the escape velocity. For the next few minutes, I'll talk about what we believe are some of the few trends which will make it possible, and some of the complex challenges we face as an industry, and what is that we need to do to be able to solve some of these issues. I'll start with the obvious. Intelligent technologies, be it robotic process automation, IoT, intelligent infrastructure, they are starting to scale across industry segments. And these technologies are not just built in Silicon Valley or in Germany or in France. They are built all over the world. Take an example of robotic process automation. The two companies which are leading this, Automation Anywhere and UiPath, one other company, the initial engineering was done out of Vadodara, not in Bangalore, not in Pune, in Vadodara. UiPath, the engineering was built in Bucharest, in Romania. And both of these companies have blitzscaled over the last few years, raising several $billion, and each of the companies valued several $billion. And none of this innovation happened in the Silicon Valley, happened rest of the world. So innovation is starting to spread across different locations. And these technologies are fundamentally changing what productivity means for both the blue-collar and white-collar worker, and not just productivity, both in terms of customer experience and creating fundamentally new revenue streams. And we're just getting started. We're just scratching the surface on what is possible with these technologies. The second big trend is private equity is becoming mainstream. How many of you have read the book Barbarians at the Gate? I see only 10 people. If you really want to keep your job, after this conference, go and buy this book and read. It talks about the evolution of the private equity industry, and it's changed significantly over the last two decades. If you go and talk to any large pension fund anywhere in the world, they're increasing the asset allocation to private equity. And they're able to return much higher returns for the shareholder compared to public equity. And the way they drive change is very different. There is no communication to drive change. If you don't follow, you probably don't have a job. Today, 8% of all the global centers have some form of private equity ownership. In the next 5 years, we believe 30% of all of these companies are going to have private equity ownership. 30% of all global centers of excellence. There is an opportunity and there is a threat. And it's important to understand what those are. Today we have 1,200 plus companies having centers, and our view is another 500 new companies are going to set up. It's very clear, right? Every industry is moving from being a technology-enabled industry to a technology-led industry. Be it media, banking, insurance, all of them, and they don't have the digital skills anywhere in the world, and they are coming to India to set up the center. Global unicorns, they're going IPO, and they have to grow, and they are setting up centers here. Companies from Asia, go check, from Indonesia, has an R&D center in Bangalore. Your company from Asia setting up R&D center. So it's very easy to see another 500 new companies setting up their R&D and digital centers in India in the next 5 years. And for a lot of you here, good thing, more job security, more jobs in the market. And the fourth, which we are very passionate about, is the country's ambition to be a $5 trillion economy in the next 5 years. There are questions, is it possible? But it is for us to make it possible. It is going to create 90 million jobs, 90 million jobs. It's going to improve, double the discretionary spend across the country. It's going to take millions of people out of poverty. And the fundamental lever for this is a $1 trillion digital economy the government is driving for. And we have talked about India Stack in these conferences before. Just take an example of UPI. 2 years ago, nobody knew what UPI was. In the last 12 months, there's been a 3 times increase in the number of transactions via UPI. June saw over 730 million transactions, easily overtaking MasterCard, Visa, and other traditional form of payments. And India Stack is just getting started. We have a health stack, which is going to be launched. And what health stack is going to do is to enable seamless sharing of patient data across the industry value chain, thereby dramatically reducing the cost of healthcare as well as insurance in India. Data Empowerment and Protection Act is going to be ratified soon. What it's going to do is provide data and democracy. For the first time ever in the entire world, India is going to lead in providing data democracy to every citizen. Our data is not going to be owned by bank. It's not going to be owned by telcos. It's not going to be owned by the tech giants. It's going to be owned by individuals. And it's up to us to give access to this data to anybody who wants access to this data, to get a preferential service from them. Unheard of anywhere else, and we're going to lead this for the entire world to follow us in driving this. We might never catch up with China in terms of physical infrastructure, but there is an opportunity for us to catch up on the digital infrastructure. And we strongly believe India is going to have over 100 unicorns over the next few years. We are currently creating 1 unicorn a month. You know when something is the top of the hype cycle, when even Doordarshan is starting a startup channel. And we are going to have startup. And one of the interesting things about the startup ecosystem today is the angel investors. And if you go to Koramangala, there is a street called Billionaire Street. It's rumored that all the internet billionaires live in that street. I've never been there. But a lot of them are now investing into these startups. You have companies like Cisco, NetApp, driving accelerators to enhance and create role models and harden the technology of these companies, and not just global companies, even SL, an Indian company, in helping startups move from technology to production. And we are going to have this 100 unicorns over the next 5 years across B2B and B2C sectors. And this is creating a unique opportunity. It is an opportunity for global centers of excellence to build new skills, new digital native skills, first to the company, to create revenue streams using these new digital technologies, to create new markets, be it markets like India and China for the company for the first time, to be the organization which attracts top talent from across, be the talent magnet, and future-proof the organization from the global organization from a talent perspective. And then participate in a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of building a nation which is a $5 trillion economy, only the third country in the entire world to be able to make it possible. And there's a tremendous opportunity for us not to be on the sidelines, but really, truly participate in creating a $5 trillion economy. But if we don't move forward, we have a challenge. We have a challenge of losing our existing advantage, especially around talent. I'll tell you why. If you go back to 2010, here is the talent value chain. If you go and talk to top talent from top universities, where do they want to work? Always global centers of excellence at the top. Then you had IT service providers, then the Indian companies, then the startups. You look at it today, it's still global centers of excellence at the top, then it's the startups, and then the rest of the Indian industry. And if we don't change, if we don't move forward, if we don't take accountability and drive transformation and provide our talent opportunity to solve large, big problems rather than just supporting other people in solving the problems, we will have an issue where the top talent would want to work for Indian startup. They would want to work for unicorns rather than global centers of excellence. For like anything in life, for us to solve these challenges, it's important to be self-aware. Self-aware in terms of what is the complex challenges are we facing and how do we address those. And we have touched upon some of these challenges before, but I will spend a few minutes talking about what these challenges are. First is lack of customer access. We talk to global teams, and why are you not having the transformation program run from India? The answer we get is, oh, my engineers in India don't understand customers. We find it funny, sometimes stupid, for two reasons. One, the engineers in the headquarters almost never have met a customer. Just because you go to Kroger's for doing your grocery, just because you go to Kroger's for doing your grocery, doesn't mean you understand the retail business. Second, most companies are driven through cloud and IoT. And there is customer data coming into every company. There is so much of customer data. And the people who are going to truly understand customer, are the engineers who have customer empathy as well as data analytics and data science capability. Not because you go to Kroger's for your grocery. Big difference. Second, the matrix structure continues to be a major conflict. And most companies have gone into a model where the product teams report back into the individual product teams globally. In paper, it makes perfect sense. Okay, I am aligned to the global team. I will deliver what the global team wants us to deliver. But the centers have become just co-working space. What is the difference between a global centers of excellence and WeWork? When you have just teams sitting there in silos and building something for a global team, maybe there is a recruiting engine on the side, and that's about it. And there is another issue because of this. We call it satisfied mediocrity. The global team has a fixed mindset on what is possible by an engineer in India. They think nothing has changed in the last few years. And they have very low expectation on what is possible. And the teams here, they're happy satisfying that low expectation, resulting in a mediocre organization on both sides. And when something goes wrong, blame the middle management. I'm going to do the same. Because the middle management came from an era where they were exposed and they were supporting global companies, and they've grown in the last 10 years, they don't have the right skills to be able to own and deliver products. And it's going to be very difficult for them to find a job or get promoted within the organization. And we've got to figure out a way to reskill or deal with the middle management. The fourth issue, and we have heard several times, there is a perception that the productivity here is lower, the productivity of 0.5, 0.7, depending on which team we talk about. And we assume that engineers are analytical and come up with analytical metrics, but a lot of time these are driven through perception. And thereby, that is what is possible from here. And the other part is leadership. And the global companies have this model, what we call as a mercenary leadership model. When they say mercenary leadership, they usually send a leader to India for 3 years. And the first year the leader comes, the leader probably spends more time traveling to different sites in India, more than probably we have seen, understanding India. Second year, they're focused on the job. And the third year, they're looking for a job back in the headquarters. 3 years is gone, the site has not moved forward. On top of that, we have leaders, local leaders, who think their job is to be like a state governor and a statesman. They spend most of the time taking care of the global team we're visiting, take them to meet the prime minister, take them to meet the governor, and take care of eventualities. I call it a high premium insurance policy. Nothing more than that, to take care of eventualities. And being in an ecosystem like Bangalore is hard. So I was in this small town in Europe. We got out of the airport. We saw this advertisement of the company we are going to meet. We got into the taxi, and we tell them, hey, I'm going to this company. The respect for us from the taxi driver tremendously increased because we are meeting this company. When they came to Bangalore, nobody knew about them. And imagine them setting up an office on Outer Ring Road with all of these other tech giants around them. Very, very hard to be able to attract and retain top talent in these scenarios. And finally, a lot of the centers, we lack an X factor. We lack a persona. Because we lack a persona, anybody who wants to save cost, anybody who wants to send some of the end-of-life products, they push it down to the India center. The government should almost change the anti-dumping law to include, don't send these end-of-life products for us to manage. I'm off joking. And we have to deal with these challenges. These are complex. There is no easy answer. If you have easy answer, you would have solved it already. And for us, we believe the first one is ambition. Somehow, as we get older, we don't seem to have ambition. We are shy of using the word ambition. We go into a school, talk to every single kid, and ask them, what is your ambition? They have a view. They have something to say. Go into a large company, and people are, no, I am just aligned to the corporate vision. This whole thing about alignment. And there is a perception that my CEO knows what is right for the company. How? Most of them are professional CEOs. What do? They buy companies, they sell companies. Very short-term thinking, not really looking at what is the long-term vision for the organization. We should not be shy in reflecting, articulating, and chasing our dreams, chasing our ambitions. It's never too late and makes life a lot more exciting. Our view is centers should have ambition around customer experience, ambition around revenue. Can we build 20% of all revenue from net new products? Can it come from India? Can we improve 30% of net promoter score for the company? Can we double their productivity? Why is the productivity of an engineer in the headquarters the gold standard for productivity? Why can't an engineer in India be 2x productive? Why can't we be the gold standard for everybody else to follow? Talent. Can we have ambition to have at least one leader in the next few years to be directly on the CEO staff from India? And contribute to ecosystem, 3x the ecosystem partnership compared to what the headquarters does. All of this is possible. We have seen companies do one of these at some point in time. And all of this is possible if you only have the right ambition to be able to do it. And to be able to do it, we need to establish what are our X factors, what are the persona. And when you define the persona, keep the company badge on one side and have the country badge on the other side. It's important to see what is possible from India because you're going to lead, you're going to show the way for the rest of the industry, rest of the companies and talent. And you have a responsibility for the million engineers we have hired to show that they're not just doing support, but really driving transformation, driving product innovation for the globe. And have bold points of views. And when we observe the centers, we are taking step function. And those are centers, we are taking hard problems to solve. The problems everybody in the company is saying, hey, it's too tough. If I take up and fail, I lose my job. Pick up those problems to solve. And if you are a leader and if you don't have it in you to pick up those problems, you might as well step aside, have the rest of the company, the next set of leaders take over. And build new muscle for the organization. Be the organizational gym, be it in building new digital skills, new business model, new revenue stream. Can we build a new capability for the company? You build that center of excellence here to be able to drive it. And in the end, nothing happens without the right culture, with the right context. Culture is very difficult to define. You can only sense it. And you can't build it. You can't control it. You can only influence it. And you need to build a culture which is entrepreneurial. You need a culture which stretches people's capability. Important to create an organization which people really believe in and trust and have the right amount of energy every single day they come in for us to make it happen. And all of this is not possible without the right leadership. And we need intrapreneurs as leaders. And when we did this study early in this year, only 5% of the global centers of excellence are led by leaders whom we call as intrapreneurs. And many times these leaders leave. They have ambition, personal ambition, to go into the headquarters and take up much larger roles so the center goes back. I mean, we need leaders, intrapreneurs, not just at the country leadership level, but at the next level. The first two levels of a center has to have intrapreneurs who are truly entrepreneurs within a large enterprise. And second, where does a center report into? Sometimes we joke internally that a center is reporting so low in the organization, the CEO needs a telescope to look at the center. Only 15% of the leaders are a CEO, CEO minus one, reporting into CEO staff. These numbers have to dramatically change. And we need to have 100% of intrapreneurs in the level 1 and level 2 of leaders, and at least 50% of the centers should report into a CEO or a CEO staff. in the next few years. And even though I'm a consultant, I don't pretend to say that we have all the answers. We know how companies should attain their escape velocity to truly be a transformation hub, to truly act in parity with the headquarters, truly have the leadership roles at the same level as the headquarters. We don't pretend we have the answers. But we love to work with leaders, dreamers with ambition, centers with ambition. And we can assure you that we will work with relentless persistence, passion, and intellectual curiosity to help you in your journey. Thank you.